Hello, my name is Dr. Chidi, and it's such a privilege for me to be here. I have come from the United Kingdom, but obviously I've actually come from Nigeria. You know what I mean. You know what I mean. Okay, so this week, every time you see me, this is not working. Every time you see me, I'm going to be talking about how to reverse a disease. How to reverse a disease. Okay. Now, each disease I've given a different color. So red is heart disease, and blood pressure is, oh, there you go, here we have the life colors from. Every different color represents a different disease. And I'm going to talk to you every time you see me. I'm going to show you how to reverse disease. Today, we are going to focus on heart disease and high blood pressure. If you know anybody with high blood pressure or heart disease, you should be listening closely. What is heart disease? It is just when the arteries start to narrow. And if the did a research project, what he did, he took some people with severe heart disease, chest pain. And what happened, he took them into his house and he just changed their diet. Now this means that the arteries in their heart are closing up. All he did was change their diet to a healthy, plant-based diet, and those arteries started to open up again. In fact, you could actually see the change in the disease. You can see on the left, which is before, there's a little kink in the artery. After, that is absolutely open. Now, normally, you'd need a heart surgeon to open up your heart to do something like that. This was just done with a change of diet. Now, which would you prefer? A surgeon to open up your heart, or just to change your diet? Absolutely. Heart disease is actually linked with high blood pressure. And for those of you on the continent of Africa, high blood pressure is rife. Now, this number, the systolic, is just the maximum pressure that your heart should be in. The diastolic is the minimum when your heart is relaxed. Why do we get it? Is it genetic? The great answer is no, it is not. If you go to your doctor and you say, "Doctor, I've got high blood pressure," they'll say to you, "It's essential hypertension." Now, what on earth does that mean? This is what doctors do. If we don't understand something, we give it a nice long name and we sound clever. Essential hypertension just means we don't know the cause of it. But they will tell you what the risk factors for high blood pressure is. Now, if you have a family history of high blood pressure, Afro-Caribbean, if you're male, if you're obese, if you're diabetic, if you smoke, if you've got lots of salt in your diet, if you've got lots of stress, and you don't do any exercise. We know these to be risk factors. But you know what? It doesn't take an awful lot of knowledge to find out that the risk factors are indeed the causes. That's actually what causes high blood pressure. Now, some of those don't seem very fair, do they? For example, family history of high blood pressure. So does that mean if my father has it, my mother has it, does that mean I'm going to get it? The good news is no. It's not genetics that is passed down, it's just the lifestyle that is passed down. If you eat too much, if you don't exercise enough, you will do the same thing. Why on earth do African and Caribbean people have higher blood pressure? Why? Is it because we have more stress? Is it because there's too many problems? It is simply because our physiology is slightly different. We hold on to water a little bit more so that we don't sweat too much in this climate. And by holding on to water, we hold on to salt more also. You know, and so if you hold on to salt, your blood pressure goes up a little bit more. Now, why on earth do males have higher blood pressure than females? Well, that's obvious, because males have to live with females. That's the answer, obviously. Maybe not, maybe not. No, the answer really is that women have estrogen in their system that keeps their blood pressure down. Okay. Hypertension, I think of it just as a warning, not really a disease in itself. If you have high blood pressure, you are at risk of these diseases. If your stress levels are high, making your blood pressure go up, you're at risk of getting cancer, anxiety, and all these sorts of diseases. This reminds me of my first car. I had all these warning signs going off in my first car. I didn't have the money to do anything about it, because I ignored the warning signs, much worse things happen down the line. I haven't seen a better description of what disease is than this book from the Ministry of Healing and Ellen White. It says the disease is an effort of nature to free the system from conditions that result from a violation of the health laws. The disease of high blood pressure isn't the real problem. The problem is that you've broken some health laws and your body is now trying to overcome it. Because some people have essential hypertension, really. I mean, the blood pressure is essential. If you have a nice big artery that is feeding your brain with blood and that artery becomes narrow, well, how do you get the same amount of blood to the brain? What you have to do is shove the blood through a lot quicker, so you have to raise the blood pressure. And as you raise the blood pressure, that causes a problem. Now, if your doctor then gives you a tablet to lower the blood pressure, your brain is still not going to get enough blood. If you want to open up those arteries naturally, the best way to do it is a healthy plant-based diet. Not all plant-based diets are healthy, but the more plants you have in the system, the healthier you will be. And especially if you add greens to your diet. Bitter leaf, doesn't matter what greens you use, they are fantastic for your blood pressure. What they do, as you digest the greens, they help you to release a chemical called nitric oxide. Nitric oxide opens up the arteries and therefore lowers the blood pressure. Nitric oxide, by the way, is the active ingredient to a drug called Viagra. Maybe some of you know that drug, okay? So some people take it, some men take it for erectile dysfunction. I'm telling you that greens have natural ability to release you from erectile dysfunction. People say to me, well, Dr. Chidi, I want relief, but I don't want to eat rabbit food. Rabbits don't need Viagra. I will leave that with you. Let me move on. Okay, let's go. Now, it's all right me talking to you about what to do and what to eat, but let me give you some information. This site, Plant-Based, shows you some of the best ways to have African/Caribbean plant-based food. And by the way, it's run by my wife, okay? It's run by my wife. And I must say, the only sadness I have of being here is that I'm not with her right now, and I'm saying hello to her because I know she'll be watching at home. So look up this Plant-Based, the website or the YouTube channel, and remember, if you want to lower your blood pressure, still exercise. It opens up your heart. And finally, this text from the Bible, Proverbs 4:23, guard your heart with all diligence, for out of it spring the issues of life. It tells us something very important. It tells us that the issues in our life, the ones that are causing us high blood pressure, they don't come from outside, from our neighbor. They don't come from my spouse. They actually come from my own heart. We all need this heart transplant, and that's why we're here, for Jesus to transplant our hearts. So as we arise in hope, may we also arise in health. Have a good evening.